So I think this is everything. Probably have forgotten something, but pretty sure this is everything I made so far in 2023. Now, this isn't everything. I've sold a lot of things and I've given some things to my friends and family. So this is just the things that I still have at home. I might enter or like show you some pictures of some of the other things that I made when I go through the categories. It would just be nice to show you. It would be a shame if they don't really get a lot of, show. And now I thought there would be a lot more than there is. At the start of the year, I was obsessed. I went through a real obsession. I mean, it was winter. I wasn't really very sociable, and I just learned how to use my knitting machine, and it sort of spiraled and went from there. And it was pretty much what I did. I don't think I saw my friends for a good few months, but we have all of this now. Some of the things are definitely better than others. I mean, I've knitted and crocheted over the last couple of years already, but it really picked up at the start of the year. So I'm gonna just make my way through the rack. I'm probably gonna do accessories last just because they're not that exciting. It's just tops and dresses. I wish I could show you some variety, you know, I wish I had some skirts or trousers or shorts, but I kind of just make the clothes that I want to wear, and that's predominantly just tops and dresses. I don't wear a lot of skirts, and trousers and shorts are just really hard to make because of the shape. But this is something I really want to get into for the sort of this part of the year, especially on my knitting machine. I think it'd be really cool to do some like pajama trousers or pajama shorts. So yeah, just tops and dresses at the moment, but you know, that's fine. We can't do it all. Starting off strong, we have this flower crochet vest, which I made, I want to say a couple months ago, and it's just made of these granny square flower petals, and then I added them all together. I honestly thought I was going to lose my mind making this. It took a long time, let's say that, and I don't think I'll ever make it again. People have been asking me for a pattern, and I did sort of make like somewhat of a pattern and shared it on my TikTok, and people have approached me since then. But the thing is, if I was to write a pattern, I'd have to make this again, and I'm just mentally not able to. Maybe one day, but I still haven't recovered. So if you do want to make this, there's like somewhat of a tutorial on my TikTok, but enter with caution. This will take a long time. Now, this is an honorable mention. It's clearly not finished. I have about 1,000 ends to weave in, and now please don't come for me. Yes, I know I should have woven them in as I went along. People have let me know about that on TikTok as well. People have very strong opinions about how I tackled this, but I'm impatient, okay? Like, I had this idea for a dress out of these petals, and I didn't want to be weaving in any things. I just wanted to make it and put it on. But in my excitement, I had to finish here. I had to finish here because I ran out of yarn, and I'm stupid, and I thought the yarn had been discontinued until I realised it hadn't. I'm just stupid. So yeah, I've got the yarn again, and I can continue it. But having said that, this vest took a long time. I mean, I think it's been like over 100 hours, and it still needs a bit of length, and I haven't even started this sleeve. So I don't even want to know how much time I end up putting into this, and I probably don't even end up wearing it because I never do. So then we have this like granny stitch hoodie with acrylic yarn, and it's cute. I wanted to make something really boxy and like oversized, and ended up making it somewhat a little bit more cropped, so it didn't like completely drown me. And this was just really easy to work up, and I don't know, I don't have a lot else to say. I was going to add like a mock neck, and I did start adding some cuffs, but I ended up just liking it really simple and sort of like a hoodie vibe, easy jumper. Now, this is the last crochet top I'll be showing, and this has been in my whips for probably a year. I started making this wanting it to be like inspired by the Zara dress, and I made all the squares and put it all, you know, into like a dress form, and it just looked awful. I didn't do any decreases, I didn't do anything to flatten my shape, so it didn't work. So I kind of threw it in a box for a few months after having spent so much time making the granny squares. Sometimes it just takes some time. I had to probably think about it for a little while, and then I thought, let's make this jumper. It's inspired by another jumper that I made, I think like a year ago now. I had to make a few more squares than I had at that point just to, you know, make the sleeves and stuff. Although now I think I could have just had that as the sleeves. The sleeves are long, as you can see. This is like the softest thing I've ever made. It's made with acrylic yarn, but the way I blocked it, and I then steamed it for the very first time, I steamed the finished piece, and it made such a difference. I could see the stitches drop in front of my eyes. and it's just so soft now. And if you've worked with acrylic yarn, you know it's not the softest, and it's kind of squeaky, and especially when you're making granny squares or you crocheting something with it, it makes them so, the stitches so tight. It just doesn't feel nice. It doesn't have any of that. So if you struggle with your crochet pieces that you've used with acrylic yarn sort of not fitting right or being a bit tight, I would definitely recommend steaming it. I have like a hand steamer, and I think that works a lot better. Personally, I think that works a lot better than using an iron, but I know not everyone has that, so an iron I'm sure will work as well. But yeah, I just really love it. It's so soft. I can't believe it. Oh, and also I can't forget I did knit the mock neck and the hem here and here. So then we get into my knitted tops. Now, for most of my knitted pieces, there were so many more, and I sold a lot of them. So I'll go through them at the end just quickly, and I'll show you some pictures. But recently, or like when summer hit, I had a lot of scrap yarn left over, and I was traveling a lot. And when I'm traveling, I like to do some knitting when I'm waiting or on public transport, but I don't want to do anything big. So I like to have a small project that I can put on circular needles. So when I'm done knitting and I'm going somewhere, I can just move the knits down and it won't come unraveled on the circular needles. I find I wouldn't want to risk it on just straight needles or anything. So I needed to make something that I could make in the round, something that was light and wouldn't take up too much space in my bag. So I made these tops, or they're all like backless. So this was the first one that I made, and these are, apart from this one, these two are made with a linen cotton blend, and I think it's just my absolute favorite yarn. There's a dress later on that I'll show you as well. It's just my favorite yarn to work with, and it's so soft and breathable and light and perfect for the summer. So I made this backless little top and start making it in the round, and then I knit it straight as I open it up here, but I can keep everything on the needle, which is good. And then I made this one, which I sort of did like a tie feature at the back, so you can tie it. But yeah, again, it has this like yarn. And then because I felt these were a little bit too cropped for me, I wanted to make a longer one, but slightly underestimated how much yarn I had left to work with. So I did like a two-way thing, but it's a lot longer. But yeah, same concept, start in the round, break it up, work my way up, normal stockinette, and then I just join them up here again. Yeah, these are just really cool for the summer, like a nice beach cover up over bikini. So then this was another travel top that I made while I was traveling to Berlin, and it's made with cotton yarn. And now the thing with cotton yarn is I really just don't like knitting with it. Obviously these like crochet pieces, they were made with cotton yarn, and I just much prefer crocheting with it, which is why I like the cotton linen blend so much for my knit. But yeah, so this is cotton, and I learned how to do a drop stitch for this, which I had to do because I didn't have that much yarn. It was just like one skein of yarn and I didn't want to risk running out. So I did a drop stitch and it worked out really quickly. I really enjoyed doing it. In between the drop, I did like, I want to say like one row of just normal stockinette, and it was a bit of a pain to do that bit. That took some time, but kind of worked up all right. And then I did towards the end, so I wanted to make like a high neck top, but I ran out of yarn, so I had to do the back a little bit lower, and I just combined it with some string because at this point I had literally no yarn left. And yeah, people have been asking me for patterns, so I think I'll do a little tutorial on how to do the drop stitch and, you know, how to make this pattern so it works up in this like stockinette and then drop stitch. Now this I'm so proud of, and it turned out so much better than I thought it would. It's just this like vest made out of 4 panels, added them together with these nice like lace ribbons, and it's just so cute. I used up this yarn that I had and I really didn't know what to do with it. I think I started 3 different projects trying to use up this yarn and it just wouldn't work. So I think I actually used 3 strands of the yarn for this to work it up. So it's really nice and thick and just so fluffy and cute. And I'm definitely gonna make more with this because the options are just endless. I've been thinking about like a beige and with some like red ribbons, or I mean, yeah, you could just do so much. And even continuing this front panel to the back, so you have this like reversible, and the back's got ribbons as well. Just really cute. I can't wait to experiment with a few more designs like this. Now this was inspired by another top that I knitted ages ago, and I got this yarn. I think again this is like a linen cotton blend, and it's just so soft. And I got this yarn from like an old neighbour, and I think she gave me quite a lot of it. But the problem is when I'm buying secondhand yarn or people give me their yarn, I can never buy it again. Like it's usually out of stock. because it hasn't been produced in like years. So yeah, I made a few different panels. I think I made 2 big panels, 2 very small panels to make up the front, and then I just added like a round panel for the sleeves and added it all together with this like contrast stitch. Just, I think it's just like an easy like sewing, weaving stitch type of thing, and I kind of left it a bit raw. I did consider tucking in the ends and stuff, but I think it works, and it's just a nice throw on over a tank top or whatever you like, really. Now, I made this vest to use a bunch of leftover like scrap yarn that I had, and I think, I want to say there's like 3 strands knit together, and I just knit in the round bottom up and sort of did some decreases here. I think this is the first time I really did some decreasing. I don't know why I get so scared of it. Well, I did get really scared of it, and then since I've been using my knitting machine, it was so much easier for me to learn these things like decreasing and increasing. Pretty simple, but yeah, so just added up a bunch of scrap yarn, which pretty handy. I haven't got a lot to say to this. It's not like my favorite. I personally don't wear a lot of vests. I love the look of them, but they don't look that great on me. So I think I'm probably going to end up selling this to someone who will appreciate it more than I am. But yeah, pretty solid. Now, this long sleeve I made with some yarn my grandma gave me, and I was really stuck on what to make with the yarn. I don't use a lot of textured, apart from the linen cotton blend, but they're not that textured, you know, they don't have a lot of big like bits, and this one did. I wasn't too sure on the color, but then I was like, oh, you know, I'll just make a top. Like, you can't go wrong making a top, and I did, and I'm actually obsessed with it. So it's got these like little bubbles of pink yarn, and it's like a nice sort of basic long sleeve. It did felt a little bit in the wash, so it feels really nice and tight, and it's not see-through because the yarn has just joined itself naturally. So then again, love me a project that uses up a bunch of scrap yarn. So this is all made of scrap yarn I had left over from other projects, and I just really wanted to get rid of it. So yeah, I just made this huge jumper, just like a patchwork thing. And again, I sort of left it a little bit loose and I tucked in some of the ends. I didn't want it to be completely crazy, but I left a few of them, just little details. This is so thick and cozy. I made this right at the start of summer, so I haven't actually ever like worn it or gotten much use out of it, but I think for winter this is going to be amazing. I mean, it's just huge, and it's like, it's not even that heavy actually, because I used a lot of this yarn, and this is really soft and really light. So now moving on to dresses. Over here, I'm going to start with a bit of a rogue one. So this is actually knit or crocheted. I sewed this a couple of weeks ago, and it's inspired by the Apres studio dress that I think I'm just in this bubble on TikTok, but it's just been all over my For You page, and everyone just looks amazing wearing it, and I loved it. I personally don't have the budget to buy it. I would obviously encourage people to do so, because making this was painful, and I cannot believe that the brand is making these. I think they're making them custom to people's body and stuff, which amazing. Could not be me, because this, I almost lost my will to live making this. So this is all ruched shirring elastic from here all the way to here, and it took days. But yeah, I essentially just made a rectangle, shirred the entire rectangle, and then I sewed it in at the waist to fit my body. It is really short, and I think it's because I either shirred it too tight, so I made too many lines of shirring, and I should have maybe spaced them out more, and I think I used too much fabric at the start, because now the ruffles at the bottom are so ruffled out that my cheeks are out. I would prefer it to be more like the original dress, and the ruffles to not stick out so much and more so fall down. But I'm still trying to figure out whether there's a way I can do it now, whether I should put some darts in. Yeah, I haven't quite figured out. I'm such a beginner at sewing. This was really challenging me, but it would be a shame if I can't wear it anywhere. So gotta let it brew for a little bit longer and see if I can come up with a solution for this to not flash everyone while I wear it. Now, this is my most recent make, and I love it. I'm so obsessed with it. Guess what? It's a scrap yarn project. I had like 2 bags full of so much yarn, lots of different fibers as well, so I was really unsure what to make with it, because sometimes it's a bit awkward mixing different fibers. But I did a Raglan crochet thing for the first time, and initially I wanted to make a jumper, but I didn't quite like how it fit on me as a jumper. I think when I made the Raglan pattern, you know, you start separating the arms from the body, and I don't think I left enough space for the arms, so as a jumper it just didn't work. But after I finished the sleeves, it was kind of like, it was a jumper, and then I was like, I'm just gonna make it a dress. I think I'll get so much more wear out of it, I'll prefer it so much more, it'll be so much more special, and I used up so much more yarn. I think I got rid of a whole shopping bag worth of yarn for this. So yeah, I just used a bunch of different stitches. I did triple crochet, quadruple crochet, I did 5-6 times crochet stitches, and then I did every now and again I did like a granny stitch, like up here and here I think, and then I did like a skip a stitch sort of stitches, so they have the gaps, which are really cool. And yeah, I'm obsessed with it. I think I'm definitely going to make another one like this as soon as I have some more scraps, and I'm going to try and give the raglan a bit more spacing for the arms because I think that'll look nicer. So I believe we're now moving on to my knit machine stuff. I'll start with this because this was the very first dress I made on my knitting machine. It sort of fits like an A-line dress. It's basically just rectangles, 2 similar size or same size rectangles for the body and 2 for the arms, and I made like a striped pattern for this arm, and I love it so much, but I'm absolutely gutted because the day I made it, I think I made it and then the following day I went out to a gig, or like I went out, I can't really remember. So obviously after I made this, I washed it, I blocked it and left it to dry, but because I really wanted to wear it, it just looked amazing, I really wanted to wear it that night, I didn't let it dry completely. Now this was a mistake on 2 fronts. I was freezing. As soon as we got to the venue, I was shivering because my skin was damp, horrible, and because I think it was wet and I was wearing a crossbody bag, it made it like bobble quite a lot. I haven't tried to like shave it or actually undo any of the like bobbling at all, so I think it can be repaired. I hope so anyways, fingers crossed. But I've definitely learned from it. I have since then not worn anything wet and let everything dry, not be so overexcited, but I still really love it. I've worn it since, like even with the bobbling. It's just such a nice dress. Now then I made this dress, for which I didn't even know what I was trying to do with this, to be honest. Instead of using every single needle on my knitting machine, I skipped 1 needle, so it created a bit more of like a I think I just wanted it to be looser and not so tight stitch, because the size of the needle or the size of the stitch can only go so high. So I thought by dropping a stitch, the stitches will go a bit bigger, which they do. I was right, but it also makes it a lot more see-through, which was a bit random for this dress because I just feel like it doesn't really work with the colors. So I tried to do a mini sort of similar to the green one that I made, but I just made the arms way too short and it just fits really awkwardly, and you see it is really see-through, and especially when you then where your bum is, you can just see everything, not in a cute way. It feels kind of strange. So yeah, I haven't worn this ever. I don't think it ever will. I'm not really sure what to make with this now, actually. Okay, so taking a quick jump to a slightly different dress, I made this, which, I mean, already on camera, I'm just absolutely obsessed with this. It's another linen cotton blend make, and I made this on my Centro. This Centro, I think you can only have 45 or 47 stitches, which my body, it isn't large enough to make, like one panel won't cover my circumference unless I want it to be really stretchy and really body tight and sort of meshy. But I didn't for this. I wanted it to be loose and like a beach cover up. So I made 4 panels and I just added them together, so it has like a line in the front, which it works really well. It's really cute and it's just so soft. I mean, this yarn, honestly, if you're ever stuck for like a good summery yarn to use, linen cotton blends are the one to go. So yeah, it just has like a really nice mesh sort of feel. I wish it was maxi. It kind of hits me at a midi length because it also sort of hugs me around the hips and stuff, but I think if like a smaller size was to wear this, I think it might hit a bit longer. But yeah, I ran out of yarn. I think I had 4 skeins. Again, I got this yarn second hand, so I couldn't buy any more to make it maxi, which is a shame. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. This was the very first long sleeve maxi dress that I made, and it's my pride and joy. I will never sell this or give it away. It means so much to me. It kind of kicked off my obsession with my knitting machine, and it's a midi length, and I did like a contrast colouring each panel, so I went bottom up. So again, these are just rectangles for the body and the arms. I just used up this yarn to make these colourful stripes, and I'm just obsessed with it. It's not like anything I've ever seen. Yeah, I love wearing it as well, which I rarely do. I really struggle wearing my own makes, so when I do make something that I like to wear. It means a lot. After I made this dress, I ordered a bunch more yarn, like so much more yarn of that kind to make a bunch more dresses, and I have so much left over. So I think this winter is when I'm going to make a lot more dresses and different types and variations. But with this one, because these are just rectangles and they do fit nicely, but they're just more oversized, a bit more loose, and I wanted to make something that was more body fitted. And for this specifically, I tried to make like an A-line shape. So this is first time I think I tried to I don't think it was the first time I tried to decrease and increase. Didn't really work out. I had to sort of sew the sides to make it a bit more even, but I do really like the colorway. Again, I think this is a midi length. I think I might sell this, but yeah, another dress that I made. I believe this is the last dress that I own still personally, which is this red and pink Maxi. This is definitely Maxi. I mean, look at the size of it. Short sleeve dress. And after making the stripe one, I had another go making something a bit more figure hugging and yeah, fitting. And you can see it looks really silly on the hanger. It's so tiny here and then it kind of goes out all of a sudden, but it looks so flattering. So it's kind of, yeah, you can see it here. It's kind of this shape. But yeah, this is, again, I'm so proud of this. It looks really nice. I hand knit the collar and the hem here just because I can't do ribbing on my knitting machine and I can't knit in the round of my knitting machine. So this took quite a while. I had to use quite small needles. It made it look so much more finished and polished to add the hem and the collar. So I absolutely love this. Having said that, I think I am going to sell this because I don't see myself wearing this out ever, despite it being so beautiful. I don't have occasions to wear it and it's just such a shame. I don't want it to stay on a hanger forever. I think someone is going to absolutely look incredible and show it to the world. Let's move on to the accessories now. The only accessories I ever make are hats and bags, and that's because I only like to make things that I can wear. I know there's so many more things you can do in this category. I'm totally aware. It's just not for me. I think I tried to get into tapestry crochet, loved it a little bit, then got really bored and frustrated. The strands were just everywhere. I don't know how people stay sane doing that. I just get way more satisfaction out of it if I know I can wear it. So these are some of the accessories. I'll start with this hat because this is actually a placement hat for the 10 other hats that I made similar to this. I got this amazing fuzzy mohair secondhand. I got a bunch of it and I made this blue hat and I just loved it so much. So then I made another hat and gave it to my mum for Christmas. There's about 5 hats left over. I think I gave 2 hats to my friends, a white one and another one of this. So I think this coming winter I might sell them. They are so nice. Like, try and put one on. They're super fluffy and warm. I mean, it's giving. I don't really know what it's giving. It's giving, it's cozy, definitely cozy. So then my bags. I made this bag recently, thrifted this crochet tapestry thing, but I didn't actually make the body of the bag. What I did was connect the piece of tapestry to make it into a bag. So I connected the sides sort of in a way that it was a bit more like 3D rather than flat. And I just added some straps. So pretty cool. And I see these old cloths and crochet tapestries in charity shops all the time. So this is a really good upcycle, especially if you want a crochet bag. You're not quite at the point yet where you can make one yourself, or you're just scared or can't be asked, which that's fair because it takes a long time. This is a great thing to make. I made this. I learned a new stitch called a Jasmine stitch, I want to say. So I just started with a double crochet, then went into the stitch and, add a little strap. Did kind of mess up here. I'm not quite sure if you can tell, but it's a bit wonky, but that's fine. I think it still works. It's still cute. We move on to my knit bags, which I made on my knitting machine. So at this point, I learned how to use the punch card setting. I sort of just made these sample bits of knit. And when I finished them, I didn't really know what to do. Didn't want to frog them because there were 2 colours and they would have just been a nightmare. And obviously I wasn't going to throw it away. So I just made them into these little bags. And you can see I kind of messed up here. Still figuring out how to use it, but it's cute. You can use it as a little phone bag, put your phone on there, maybe a water bottle. Then I made this slightly bigger one, which the pattern itself was fine, but I sort of messed up the top here. But yeah, just added a strap again. And the way I made the straps is I knitted 2 or 3 needles. I just went like this, and it made the strap. It kind of rolls in itself naturally. So yeah, I was quite proud of that. Felt like I was cheating the system. Then after I made those 2, I wanted to make a bigger one, and I wanted to make a tote. So I made this bag, and I do actually really love it. I've worn it quite a few times. It's just that I didn't knit it tight enough, so I should have used a slightly tighter tension or smaller sort of needle setting, because you can see it stretches. So I wouldn't use this for any heavy things. I think putting my water bottle in there is already a bit of a stretch, but if I just use it to put a cardi in and a purse and a phone, it's absolutely fine. I already had to tie a knot because the straps were so stretchy. But I would like to make more of these. I think I'm going to start making my own punch cards, so I can make larger checkerboards, or I can make stripe. I love to make like patchwork sort of styles. So that's all the bags and all the accessories that I made. I might just quickly run through some things that I couldn't show you because I've either sold them or given them away to my friends. After making this midi dress, I made another one, and I wanted to make a maxi length, and I had this really cute pastel toned yarn, so I made that, and I have since given it to my mum for her birthday because she loved it so much. I do really like this dress. It's just that the colours aren't really for me, and I'm really attached to the one that I already made. So then when I very first started learning how to use my knitting machine, I made a bunch of tops. So all I did was just make 2 same size rectangles, and I attached them on the shoulder seams and the side seams. So I made this blue one, which I really loved, and I made another blue one, which is this mesh style, and I just kind of left out, I think, a couple needles in the middle to make this gap. I did really like them, but I just knew I wasn't going to wear them. With one of the blue ones, the one that isn't mesh, I kind of regret it a little bit now, because that blue was really gorgeous, and I think that's a blue that really suits me. Then this vest. Now, I really struggle making things fit, or not struggle making them fit, but I just struggle making them the size that I want them to be. When the project is on the machine, it just looks a lot bigger than it will be because it's so stretched out, and as soon as you take it off the needle, it will like shrink in. So yeah, this is one of the projects that it just was too short for me, it was too tight for me. But the overall finishing I was so happy with. It was the first time I did fake ribbing, and everything was really neat. So it was overall a really nice vest, but it just didn't fit me very well. Then this mohair jumper was absolutely incredible. I think I started making this on the train on like a work trip or something. I found this, well, I pinned this jumper on Pinterest, and I found this yarn secondhand in a charity shop, and I just couldn't believe how similar it was. So I made my own version. It's really oversized, really big, which is nice. And then I added a double folded turtleneck and hemmed the cuffs and the bottom of it, and a friend of mine bought it. Then this top, I used up some scrap yarn, and the green is like a cotton and the black is like a fuzzy yarn. Again, it just wasn't the fit, it just wasn't for me. It was too cropped, but I did really like the transparency of the green in contrast to the black. So I think that's definitely something I would like to try in the future. This vest is very similar to the blue one that I made, and again I used up a load of scrap yarn. I think what I did was hold 3 strands of yarn together, and then whenever a strand would run out, I'd just add a new one and continue the other colours that I already had on my needles. So it kind of created this transition, just quite fun to work with. It's just like these vests, I just don't feel comfortable wearing them. I just find they look really weird on me, so I sold it, but it's cute. So then this vest I absolutely love. It was inspired by another photo I saw on Pinterest, and I wanted it to fit like it did on her. I wanted it to be big and chunky and easy to throw on, but instead it turned out to be this tiny little thing, which was just too small. I was never going to wear it the way it fit me. I'm a little bit hesitant to make it again, just because it's really time consuming to use so many colours. Constantly changing them out and then weaving in the ends was, yeah, that was painful. It was really painful. So yeah, this is everything that I made in 2023 so far. I'm excited to see what I make the rest of the year. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of inspiration. I feel like there's always too many things that I want to make and not enough time to actually realistically be able to make them all. I hope you enjoyed this video. It gave you some kind of inspiration inspiration for any new upcoming projects for you. Do let me know if you want to have any patterns. I say that I don't actually have patterns for anything. I am considering making a guide on these granny square jumpers and the drop stitch top I mentioned. That might be a tutorial coming as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video.